Uh, Hello all. So in the previous videos, we have completed chapter 3. We are done with chapter 4. We are done with chapter 5, and we are done with almost chapter 2, and we are done with mapping systems in chapter 1. However, we have certain topics in chapter 1 about business process management that we'll study in this video. Now let us start. Okay, so chapter 1, business process management. Business process management and information technology. Now in this particular chapter we'll study about first one, what is the definition of a process. So this process definition will study from two perspectives. First one from engineering perspective, second from business perspective. Second, we'll study about business process. Third, we'll study about business process management. Business process management. And fourth, we'll study about the differences. Okay, like we have certain differences between versus process oriented. Functional versus process oriented. Fifth one, we'll study about classification of business process. And next, we'll study certain theories of business process management. Okay, we'll study about few other topics also we'll study. So these are the main important topics in this particular chapter. So already we have completed half of the part, that is mapping systems, that is flow charts, decision table, ER diagram, data flow diagram, decision trees, etc. We are done with the half. Okay, the other half we'll study in this particular video. Now let us start with process definition. Let us start with process definition. As I said, process is defined from two perspectives. Okay, process has two perspectives. First one from engineering perspective. Second one from business perspective. Okay, so how many perspectives we have? We have two perspectives. One is from engineering perspective, one is from business perspective. Now let us start with process definition from engineering perspective. Now, process is defined as a sequence of events that uses inputs to produce outputs. A small definition for a business process from engineering perspective. Okay, So what do you mean by process? Process from engineering perspective, it is defined as a sequence of events. Okay, so what does it do? It uses inputs to produce an output. Okay, it uses input to produce an output. Okay. Now, first we'll see the definition part. In every of these particular topics, every topic, first we'll see what is the definition. Then we'll see, okay, by way of a small example in order to understand the definition. Okay. Now let us say, okay, what exactly is saying. We have certain sequence of events. Okay, there will be certain sequence of events which uses a input and it produces an output. Okay, so this is a small diagrammatical representation of the definition. So what exactly is saying? Okay, so this sequence of events will use input and sorry, they produce an output. Okay, now let us redefine this particular diagram little bit. What do you mean by sequence of events? There will be certain steps like step 1, step 2, step 3, etc. Okay, so all these particular steps are called as sequence of events. Okay, these steps are called as sequence of events. Now, to this sequence of events, if at all we are giving an input, it produces an out. It produces an output. Okay, so this is a standard definition of process from engineering perspective. It is defined as a sequence of events that uses inputs to produce an output. For example, like let us assume input is raw material. If you give raw material in a manufacturing sector, it adopts certain process or it adopts certain steps and it produces a finished good. Okay, so in manufacturing activity, what exactly happens? If at all you give raw material as an input, it adopts certain steps and it produces an output. Or if at all you give data as an input, now what are these sequence of steps? Here I call them as certain programs. It runs these particular programs and it gives output as an information. Okay. Now next example, let us say if I give instead of data, if I give a file as an input. So if I give file as an input, sorry, what happens again? It follows this sequence of steps and it produces an report. Okay, so let it be anything. So what do you mean by a process? Process is defined as a sequence of events that uses input to produce an output. You take any activity, okay, a normal activity also. For example, if at all you want tea, okay, so what you have to do, you have to follow certain steps in order to produce that particular tea, okay, or in order to make certain tea, okay. So that sequence of steps is also called as a process. Anything you take, anything, okay, it has to follow certain sequence of events or steps, okay, in order to convert an input to output. Okay, so this is a process definition from engineering perspective. Okay, now let us see what is the process definition from business perspective. Process definition from business perspective. Okay, Now, what do you mean by process from business perspective? It is nothing but coordinated. It is nothing but coordinated and standardized flow of activities. Standardized flow of activities. Okay. So what do you mean by process from business perspective? Process is nothing but coordinated and standardized flow of activities which are performed, which are performed by what? Either people, which are performed by either people or machines or machines. Okay. So what is a process? Process is nothing but standard, coordinated and standardized flow of activities performed, okay, by people or machine. And what happens? Which travels, okay. Travels means, okay, going from one particular point to another particular point. Travels means flowing, okay. Which travels functional or departmental boundaries. For what purpose? For, or I can call it as to achieve business objectives, or to create a value to internal or external customer. Okay, so this is a standard definition of a process from business perspective. Okay, so what is a process definition from business perspective? It is a coordinated and standardized flow of activities which are performed by people or machines which traverse, okay, functional or departmental boundaries to achieve business objectives, okay, and creates a value to internal and external customer. This is a standard definition of, okay, process from business perspective: coordinated and standardized flow of activities performed by people or machines which traverse functional or departmental boundaries to achieve business objectives and create a value to internal or external customers. Okay, now once we, okay, got the definition, now let us take a small example in order to understand this definition. Okay, now let us say we have an employee. Now let us assume this employee role is manager. So which department? Let us assume he's working in GST department. Okay, now this manager wants to apply a leave. Okay, he wants to apply leave. So what he will do, in organizations they will not apply leave on a piece of paper. Okay, they use a software called as leave management system. Now in this leave management system, they have to fill in, employee has to fill in from which date to which date they want leave and what is the reason for leave. It is a drop down box, all the reasons are predefined, and we have a button, submit button. Okay, Now, once he submits, okay, once he fills these particular details and once he submits that particular application form, the request will reach to his reporting manager. His reporting manager. So let us say reporting manager. So let us assume he is general manager. Okay, general manager. Let us assume accounts. General manager accounts. Okay, his reporting manager is general manager accounts, taxation and accounts. Okay, so now once this reporting manager, let us assume approves. Okay, so what should happen? The data has to send to another department, that is HR department, because they have to finalize the payroll. Okay, so which department it has to reach? It has to reach to HR department. Now, this is how a leave management system will work. Okay, now we studied the definition of business, I mean process from business perspective. In that, we have studied that it consists of coordinated and standardized flow of activities. Okay, coordinated and standardized flow of activities. Okay, what do you mean by coordinated? That means one person will send a request, other person will, okay, react to that particular request. That is called as coordination in an environment or in an department. Okay, for example, here what do you mean by coordination? Okay, manager, GST department applied leave, okay, and reporting manager responded. It is called as coordinated. Okay, it is called as coordinated. And what do you mean by standard flow of activities? Okay, now let it be any person. Here we took manager, GST department. Okay, so if I want to generalize this, any employee will apply a leave through leave management system. Leave management system. Okay, his reporting manager will react and the data has to send to HR department. Okay, so here I took a particular example. Here, what did I do? Okay, I generalized it. Okay, so these are called as standard flow of activities. Okay, these are called as standardized flow of activities. Okay, so what is the definition? Okay, it is nothing but coordinated and standardized flow of activities. Now we understood what is coordination and what do you mean by standardized flow of activities. Okay, now who will perform this coordination and flow of activities? Coordination will be generally performed by people and flow of activities will be taken care by machines. Okay, for example, here there is an event. Okay, so there's a people. Okay, so people or person applied leave and machines. Okay, when I say machines, leave management system is nothing but a software. This software will be installed on a machine. Okay, now let it be a server. Let it be a server. So it is nothing but, okay, coordinated and standardized flow of activities which are performed by whom? People or machines, and which traverse. Okay, what do you mean by traverse? I already told you flow. Okay, what does it flow? Flow of data. We consider here in this perspective, we consider it as flow of data from what? Functional or departmental boundaries. That means here when he gives this data, okay, so what is happening? The data is moving from one department to another department. Like let us assume GST is one department, accounts is another department. Okay, once he says approves, what will happen? The data will again move to HR department. So what exactly is happening? The data is traversing. Okay, the data is traversed. Here data is traversed from functional or departmental boundaries. Okay, so the data will travel from, or the data will be transmitted from one department to another department. For what purpose? To achieve business objective. Okay, what is the business objective of leave management system? The business objective of leave management system is to automate, okay, to automate leave management process, okay. Or else what will happen, okay, so if at all you don't have these particular systems, okay, or these softwares, what you have to do, you have to take a piece of paper, you have to write a leave letter, you have to get it signed by your general manager accounts. Now let us assume he goes for a meeting or he goes for a lunch, you have to wait till he comes, and okay, once you take the signature and you have to submit that particular leave letter to the HR department, okay, which is very 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 difficult, okay. So what we did, okay, we want to automate that particular thing, that is a business objective, okay. So by using leave management system, which is nothing but a software, okay, what did I do, okay. So I achieved the business objective. What is my business objective? To automate the leave management system. Now does it create a value to the customer? Yes, definitely, because instead of, if at all you see a manual business process, he has to wait till the GM comes, okay, he has to see, okay, if at all he is working, or if at all he's in meeting, or if at all he's outside or lunch, he has to wait for him, okay. And the same with the HR department. But if at all I use a system, okay, there will not be any waiting period. So what exactly I'm doing, I'm creating a value to internal customer. So who is an internal customer here? Internal customer here is nothing but employee, okay. Internal customer here is employee. Who is an external customer? External customer can be a vendor or a customer, okay. So this is a definition of process from business perspective, okay. So what is a process definition? It is nothing but coordinated and standardized flow of activities performed by people or machines traverse functional or departmental boundaries to achieve business objectives and create a value to internal and external customers. So this is about a process definition from business perspective, okay. Now with this we are done with two definitions: process definition, process from engineering perspective, process from business perspective. Now let us move to the second definition, second concept. So what is a business process? Now let us understand what is a business process, okay. Now again, here also first we'll write the definition, we'll understand the definition, and after that, okay, I'll tell you by way of an example, okay. So what is a process? We already studied what is a process. Process is nothing but it consists of set of activities. It consists of set of activities, okay. So what exactly we do with this particular set of activities, okay, we will perform this set of activities. What do? We perform this set of activities in a business environment, okay. We perform these set of activities in a business environment. Now in a business environment, okay, or in a business environment, we have two types of environments. One is organization environment. One is organization environment. One is organization environment, and other one is technical environment. And other one is technical environment. So what is the objective, okay, of this particular business process? The objective is simple: to achieve a business goal, okay, to achieve a business goal. To take any business process, what is the target, or what is the, okay, end target to achieve a business goal? So what is a business process? Business process, in process, is nothing but set of activities, Okay, what is a process? We already studied. Okay, process from let you take, okay, from business perspective, let you take an engineering perspective, it consists of set of activities. Okay, so in engineering perspective, we call it a set of activities. In business perspective, we call it as coordinated and standardized flow of activities. Okay, so what do you mean by standardized and standardized flow of activities? That is also called as set of activities. Okay, so business process here, process means set of activities. What do you mean by business? It consists of an environment. Okay, so what environment it consists of? It consists of an organizational environment, and it consists of a technical environment. Okay, it consists of organizational environment, it consists of a technical environment. And for what purpose we require environment? To achieve a business goal. Now we have certain steps that are required, okay, or to manage. Okay, I call it as managing of, to manage a business process. Sorry. To manage a business process, we have three steps. We have how many steps here? We have three steps. First one, or I call it as first task. First task, define. First task is define. Now in this define, we need to define certain steps or tasks. Second, we need to define a rule. Okay. So in managing a business process, how many steps we have? We have three steps. What is the first task? Define. Okay. What is the second task? Sorry. Second task is performance measure. Second task is performance measure. Okay. Third one, third task is organization setup. Third task is organization setup. So how many steps we have to manage a business process? We have three steps. First one, define. In define, we have two again, defining certain steps and defining a role. Second task is performance measure. Third task is organization setup. Okay. So first we'll take a small example in order to understand these three steps. Then we'll go to the definition of a business process. Now let us take a small example, okay, which is a well-known example for us, okay, which we have already studied, supply chain management. Okay, so we already studied in information systems about supply chain management. Okay, so if you see this supply chain management, now let us say there is a customer. Now this customer will give a order. Now in manufacturing sector, who will take the order? Which department will take the order? We have a department called as sales department will take the order. Okay, now once the sale department takes an order, what will happen? The data has to send to other department called as inventory. Sorry, inventory. Okay, now what exactly inventory person will do? These people will procure raw material. These people will procure raw material from different vendors. Let us take vendor 1, vendor 2, vendor 3. Okay, so here the uniqueness of this particular thing is, here in inventory it is our business process. Okay, it is organization business process. Okay, or company's business process. Okay, which is connected to what? Okay, if you see, which is connected to other business process. Okay, so the uniqueness is not only will see from a single organization perspective, which will be connected to other business processes as well. Okay, so it's a very important point. So from inventory, that means we'll send the raw material, spares, components, etc. for operational department operations. From operations, we'll move to logistics, and from logistics, we'll move to custom. Okay, so here we have finished goods, here we have finished goods, here we have raw material, here we have order. Okay, here we have data that will send to inventory. Okay, so how much is the order and all these particular details will be sent to inventory. Okay, so this is called as defining a business process. Okay, so what is the first step? First step is define. In definition, we need to define what? Define certain steps. Okay, have we defined certain steps? Yes, customer will give an order, sales department will take an order, the data will be sent to inventory, raw material. Once inventory people procure the raw material will be sent to operations, operations will send the finished goods to logistics, logistics will prepare certain transportation, and they deliver the product to the end customer. So I defined certain steps. Okay, or I define certain tasks. Okay, so that is the first one. Okay, what did I do? I define certain steps. Now what is the second thing I have to do? I have to define certain roles. Okay, so what do you mean by roles here? Roles is nothing but, like, let us say in sales department, assistant manager takes the order. Assistant manager takes the order, and okay, he'll send the order for approval. That means over ERP. Okay, so he enters the data over the ERP, and okay, the order will be sent to manager. Okay, now manager has to approve it. Once he says approve, then only the data will move to the inventory. Okay, so this is called as defining role. Now who is the process owner for sales department? Let us assume, okay, manager is the process owner, because he is determining whether to accept that particular order or reject the order. This is called as role definition. Okay, so what is the first task? Define. What do you mean by define? Define is nothing but, okay, we have to define certain tasks and we have to define a role. Second task is performance measurement. What is the second task? Performance measurement. Okay, and once you define this particular supply chain management, what is the basic objective? Basic objective is to deliver the product to the customer. Why do we implement supply chain management? What is the objective? At right time. So this is the objective of supply chain management. Okay. Now how do we know whether we have achieved this objective by implementing this business process? Okay, how do we know? By measuring. Okay, that measuring is called as performance measure. Okay, that measuring is called as performance measure. Okay, so how do we measure this performance? And okay, uh, whether we have achieved our objective or not, how do we know it? Now let us assume the organization goal. The organization standard, let us assume it is 90%. Okay, so we need to reach 90%. Okay, that means how many orders? Like, let us assume we got 10 orders. Okay, let us assume we got 10 orders. Okay. Now, out of 10 orders, we have to see how many orders we have delivered at the right time. Because what was the objective? The objective is to deliver the product at the right time. Now, let us assume I got 10 orders, out of which I sent 7 orders at right time. So, if I want to take the performance measure, so let us assume in first 3 months, let us say in first 3 months, like Jan to March. Okay. So how many orders I received? Okay. I'll take as a performance measure. Okay. I received. Okay. So receipt of order and delivery of order. Okay. So I received 10 orders, out of which 7 orders I have delivered at right time. So what is the performance measure? Okay. So 70% I achieved. Okay. So whether organization standard, is it as per organization standard? No. Okay. So is it as per organization standard? No. So we need to find out where exactly we are going wrong. For example, let us assume there is a delay. Okay. So we need to find out what is the reason. So we need to find out, here I am writing what is the reason for delay, or I can call it as remarks. Okay. I can call it as remarks as well. But okay, here we'll take as a reason. So let us assume there's a delay of 10 days for procuring raw materials. Okay, in raw material procurement, there's a delay of 10 days. That is the reason we couldn't able to achieve our target. What is our target? 90% is our target. Okay. So in the next cycle, okay, we found out what's the reason. Like from April to June, I received, let us say, 100 orders. I found out the delay. Okay, what is the reason for delay in the previous quarter? So I rectified that particular delay. I talked to vendors. Okay, I reduced the delay from 10 days to 1 day. Okay, 10 days to 1 day. So what happened? I received 100 orders, out of which I could able to achieve 90 orders. So what is the performance measure? 90%. Whether I achieved, okay, organization standard? Yes. Okay. So this is how we need to measure. Okay. If at all we are not able to satisfy the organization standards, we need to find out what is the reason, and we need to rectify that particular reason till the performance is, okay, achieved. So this is the second step. What is the second step? Performance measure. Okay. And last one is organization setup. What do you mean by organization setup? It is nothing but the entire organization will be divided into certain departments, like organization will divide them into certain departments like accounts department, finance department, legal department, operational department, etc. Okay, so this is called as organization setup. Okay, so these are three steps that are required to manage a business process. So what are the three steps, sir? First, define. Okay, what do you mean by define? Okay, we have to define certain tasks, steps, etc. We need to define roles. What is the second one? Performance measure. What is the third one? Third one is organization setup. Now let us come back to our definition. Okay, so what was business process earlier we studied? It consists of set of activities. Okay, now if you take this example, do we have set of activities? Yes. Okay, first step, second step, third step, fourth step. Okay, these are called as set of activities. Okay, so we have set of activities and organization environment. Okay, so what is organization environment? Okay, do we have certain departments? Yes. Okay, that is called as organization environment. Department 1, department 2, department 3, and department 4. Okay, so that is called as organization environment. That means the entire organization will be divided into certain departments. Okay, so that is organization environment. Do we have technical environment? Now, what do you mean by technical environment? Is nothing but a software. Okay, now do we have technical environment? Yes, SCM itself is a technical environment. Okay, so how I automated these departments? By using a software. What is the software? The software is nothing but supply chain management. So okay, we have certain organizational environment and technical environment for the purpose of achieving what? Business goal. What is the business goal? Okay, or business objective? Okay, we already studied to deliver the product to the customer at the right time. Okay, so this is a standard definition for business process. So what is a business process? It consists of set of activities, sorry, which consists of set of activities which are performed in organizational environment and technical environment for the purpose of achieving a business goal. Okay, so this is the third one which we have to learn. Okay, so let us study. Okay, so we are studying certain theory questions in chapter 1. So first question is, what is a process, and explain different perspectives. Process is defined in two ways. First one from engineering perspective, second one from business perspective. Now, what do you mean by engineering perspective? Process is defined as a sequence of events that uses inputs to produce output. Okay, it's a broad definition. Okay, so I told you. Okay, you can take from the perspective of raw materials, from the perspective of data, from the perspective of file. Okay, so it includes sequence of mechanical as reading as file and which will be converted into a desired output. Okay, so here, what is a desired output? Report is called as desired output. I already told you raw material we convert to finished goods. Okay, it's a broad definition. Okay, or I can take data, I can adopt a sequence of steps, I can convert data into information, or I can take a file, I can convert the file into report. Okay, so these are three things which we can do. Okay, we can do so many other things as well, but what is a process from engineering perspective? Process is defined as sequence of events that uses input to produce output. Okay, and also we studied what is the process definition from business perspective. Okay, it is nothing but standardized, sorry, coordinated and standardized flow of activities which are performed by whom? People and machines, which traverse functional or departmental boundaries to achieve business objectives and create a value to internal or external customer. Now, who is internal customer? Generally, employees will be called as internal customer. Who will be external customer? External customer is nothing but vendor customer. Vendor or end user is called as external customer. So which we have already studied. Now second, explain business process and steps involved in managing a business process. Okay, so we already studied what is a business process. It consists of set of activities that are performed in coordination in an organizational and technical environment. Okay, so we already studied organization means certain departments, technical environment is nothing but a software. Okay, for what purpose we require a business process? To achieve a business goal. Okay, here we call it as realization, we can call it as achieving. Okay, now each business process is enacted by a single process or single organization, but it interacts with, okay, business process performed by other organization, which I told you. Okay, like in inventory, what we did, okay, this is a single organization business process. However, they procure the raw material from other vendors. Okay, vendor one, vendor two, vendor three. Okay, so our business process is connected to other business processes. Okay, so that is the meaning. And how many steps we have to manage a business process? First task is to define. In defining, we define steps and we map the rules. Okay. Second is performance measure. Okay. For why do we require performance measure? For the purpose of improvement. Okay. So what is the last piece? Last piece is nothing but organization setup. Okay. So for standardization and adherence to the process throughout the organization. So this you need to write. Okay. Now let us go to the next question. What is the difference between function based organization and process based organization? That we'll see. Okay. Now let us see differences between function based organization and process based organization. One minute. Okay. Now let us see what is a function-based organization and what is a process-based organization. So what do you mean by functional and process? It's nothing but in functional-based organization, we have certain departments, okay, whereas in a process-based organization will not have departments. Okay, so that is the basic difference between function-based organization and process-based organization. Okay, so what do you mean by function-based organization? The entire organization will be divided into certain departments, like sales department, accounts department, finance department, legal department, services department, etc. Okay, so if you divide the entire business or entire organization into certain departments, department 1, department 2, department 3, department 4, and department 5, that is called as a function based organization. Okay, now for every department we have a functional executive. Okay, so if you take every department, you have a functional executive. Functional executive. Okay. For sales department, we call him as chief sales officer. For accounts department, let us assume chief accounts officer. Finance, chief, okay, financial officer. In certain organization, accounts and finance, we have a common head, okay, that is CFO. Legal, chief legal officer. Services, chief technical officer. Okay. So this is how we have certain functional executives for each department. Okay. Now, what exactly they focus on? Okay. Now, each department will focus on functional expertise. Okay. So, functional expertise. Okay. Same functional expertise, functional expertise, functional expertise, functional expertise. Okay. They focus on functional expertise. Okay. So how to improve, for example, sales, how to improve the sales, okay, and how to provide the customer services, okay, for to in order to satisfy the customer, because if the customer is satisfied, then only he'll come back, okay, or else he'll not come. Okay, so these all things are called as functional expertise. And if you see, every department have similar skill sets. Okay, each department will have similar skill set. Okay, what do you mean by similar skill set? Similar skill set is nothing but, like, if at all you take accounts, okay, accounts will have a similar skill set. That means the basic knowledge is accounting. Okay, the basic knowledge is accounting. Okay, so finance, or if you take legal, the basic skill set is legal interpretations, etc. Okay, so if you take any department, every department will have a similar skill set, and they work on the direction of management. Okay, so who will direct? Okay, they work on the direction of management. Okay, so they'll say, okay, or I can call it as direction of management. Here is functional executive. For example, CFO asked to prepare a report, okay, for a merger. Okay, so the entire finance department will be working together to prepare a report. So this is nothing but a direction. There will be a clear direction. There will be a clear direction. Okay, that's a very, very important aspect. Okay, now when do we use this functional based organization? Functional based organization will be used, okay, in cost leadership. If at all you want to become a cost leader of your product, then we use a function based organization. Okay, now let us see what is a process based organization, then we'll come back to the weaknesses. Okay, so let us take process based organization. Now, unlike that, process based organization will not have departments. Instead, we have certain projects. Project 1, project 2, project 3, like that. We have n number of projects. Project 4. Okay. So each project will have a combination of people, like let us say 20 programmers, 2 CAs, one legal person, and let us say 2 CWAs. Okay, so what we did, okay, do they have similar skill set? No, they'll not have similar skill set. They are from different backgrounds itself. Okay, for every project, okay, it should be the composition, like 10 programmers, one CA, one CWA, one legal person, etc. Okay, so every project will have its own, okay, combination or composition of people. Okay, so these projects will be led by a person called as a process owner. So he is a process owner in this particular context. The process owner, the process owner will be project manager. We call it as a project manager, or we call it as a team lead. Okay, so we have a team who will lead it. Okay, so what is a project? Like let us assume HSBC. Okay, so HSBC is an nothing but a project. That means let us assume this particular project is developed by Infosys. Okay, so Infosys is developing the project. So that project consists of certain people with different skill sets. Okay, so when do we adopt this process oriented approach? This is called as a process oriented approach. Okay, so as I already told you, function based approach is, okay, applicable when you want to become a cost leadership, or if at all you want to implement a cost leadership strategy, whereas a process oriented approach is adaptable if at all you are looking for differential strategy. Okay, differential strategy. What do you mean by differential strategy? It is nothing but how do you differentiate your product with others? Okay, how do you respond to the market? Okay, market demands. Okay, how do you respond to the market demands? You need to respond very quickly. Okay, you need to respond very quickly, or else you'll be out of market. So that is the reason. Okay, when do we adopt this process oriented approach? When, how do you differentiate your product with other product? For example, Samsung versus Apple. Okay, so Apple want to differentiate, sorry, Samsung want, Apple want to differentiate Samsung. Okay, so at that time they want to adopt a process oriented approach, not a function based approach. Okay, so if at all your strategy is differential strategy, that is nothing but competitive advantage. Okay, then you need to approach in process oriented approach, because it reacts to the market demands very very easily. Okay, and next one, here the measurement or performance measure is very easy. Okay, performance measure is very easy because, okay, how can we measure? Like let us assume a person completes this project. Okay, like organization gave 1 year of time and they completed within 9 minutes, sorry, 9 months. Okay, then this particular, okay, what do you call measurement? Okay, we can do performance measure, we call it as performance measure. Okay, we can perform, we can measure the performance and we can give the incentive. Okay, we can give the incentive. That means we can easily align process measurement with process goals and we can incentivize the people. Okay, that happens easily in this particular approach, but that doesn't happen in function based approach. Okay, so these are certain positives and negatives we need to see. So what are the weaknesses? Okay, here in function based organization, first weakness is communication gap. First weakness is communication gap. That means, like let us say we have services department and let us assume accounts department. Okay, now if at all a person is talking in accounting terminology, service person cannot understand. Okay, so there is always a communication gap between, okay, organization department, sorry, in departments. Okay, in inter communication department is very very hard. Okay, that is communication gap. Whereas in here, process oriented approach, it's an advantage because a combination of people will be working together over a period of time. Even if a programmer talks to a CA, he can understand very easily because throughout the project, okay, they'll be traveling together. Once one person knowledge will be gained by other persons, okay, other person, okay. So there is always a sharing of knowledge between different skill sets, okay. So that is the reason here. The advantage is, okay, there will not be any communication barriers. There will not be any communication barriers because different people will be working together over a period of time. They can acquire the knowledge, okay. However, the weakness in functional thing is, okay, they have a communication gap, okay. And second, they lack end to end focus, okay. They will lack end to end focus. Why? Because they don't know, okay, like what is happening in services, they don't know. What is happening in legal, they don't know. But whereas here, they'll not have that particular problem because they'll be knowing end to end of a project, okay. So they'll not be having any silo approach here. Silo approach means it is nothing but only that particular department they know, okay. They don't know other departments. But here, process oriented approach, they don't have that particular problem because in process oriented approach, we remove the silos and we make every person to understand end to end perspective, okay. So that is again an advantage in process oriented. Now, what is the weakness in process oriented approach? Okay, if you see, there is a repetition of expertise, okay. So here 20 programmers, here 10 programmers, here 2 CAs, here 1 CA, here 2 CWS, 1 CWA. So there will be always a repetition of, okay, expertise. That is one disadvantage. And second, okay, operational complexity, okay, we call it as operational complexity, okay, because we need to manage these many projects and okay, processes, okay, like account finance, okay, they need to work together. So it's very difficult, okay, to adopt this particular process. So these are two types of strategies we have, okay. So what are the two strategies we have? Function based organization versus process based organization, okay. Now in function based organization, we have departments, I told you. In process based organization, we have team, okay. Key figures, functional executive, here process owners, here I call it as project manager or team lead, okay. So what are the benefits? It focuses on the function excellence, okay, and all people will have similar skill set. They work under management, clear management direction, which I already told you, okay. So when do we use process oriented organization? If at all you want to respond to the market requirements very quickly, okay, at that time we need process organization because we'll cannot implement function based organization. Always they have a communication gap problem, okay. So improved communication because different people will be working on a project. They, over a period of time, they will understand one person's idea, okay. So we can react to the market, okay, very easily, and we can align the performance, okay. So because once the project is completed within the time, we can give the incentives. What is the weakness? Okay, in function based organization, we have always a communication gap, barrier to communication, okay. Here, what is the problem? Functional expertise duplication, okay. Next is they lack end-to-end focus. Here it is operational complexity, which is when we have to use function base. If at all you want to become a cost leadership, then you need to adopt this particular process. If at all you want to differentiate your product from the other person, then you need to adopt process orientation. So this is the difference between functional organization versus process organization. Now here we have one more question. What do you mean by business process flow with example? Okay, there's a small definition. Flow, okay, so we already know what is a process, right? What is a process? It consists of sequence of work steps, okay. Process means it consists of sequence of workflows or work steps. Now, why do we require this sequence of work steps in the business? To produce a desired result or in order to achieve an organization goal, okay. Now what do you mean by flow here? Flow is nothing but it is initiated by a particular kind of event which has a definite starting and definite ending, and which has to complete in a relatively short period, okay, which has to be completed in relatively short period, okay. So what do you mean by process? It consists of sequence of steps. What do you mean by business? Which business process here. Business process is nothing but sequence of steps we need to achieve an organization goal. What do you mean by flow? Flow is nothing but there should be an initiation of an event which has a definite starting and definite ending. A perfect example. I took one example in your study material. You have another three examples that you can refer. Okay, we take accounting process flow. Okay, now do we have certain sequence of steps? Yes. Okay, you have to adopt this sequence in the same order. You cannot change the order. If you change the order, can you get the desired output? No. Okay, so what is the order? First you have source documents, you convert them into journals. From journals you convert them into ledgers, trial balance. Okay, from trial balance, adjustments. From adjustment, okay, you'll get adjusted trial balance. After that you'll do closing entries, and lastly you get the financial statements. Okay, so as I told you, it consists of sequence of work steps. Okay, so how many steps you have? Seven, which has to perform in order. Okay, like in sequence, in order to produce a desired result. So what is the outcome of this particular thing? You'll get the financial statements. Okay, you'll get the financial statement. Okay, whether a process is initiated by a particular kind of event? Yes, the source document is the event. And does it has a starting and ending? Yes. What is the starting? Okay, journals is starting. And what is the ending? Financial statements is ending. Okay, and does it complete usually a short period of time? Yes. Okay, every transaction will be completed in a short duration. Okay, so that is called as a business process flow. Okay, so what do you mean by business process flow? Business process flow is nothing but it is prescribed as a sequence of steps performed in order to produce a desired result. And a business process is initiated by a particular kind of event which has a definite beginning and definite ending, and which will be completed in a short span of time. Okay, so this is one example, and you have other three examples in your study material. Just refer them. Okay, just see how the steps are made. Okay, so what we have studied up to now. So we studied, we are studying chapter 1, business process management and IT. First we studied what is a process definition. Now this process definition, we have two perspectives. One is engineering perspective, one is business perspective. Engineering perspective, it is nothing but it consists of set of activities. Business perspective, it is nothing but coordinated and standardized flow of activities. So you see both are activities only. Okay, so if you take from engineering perspective or business perspective, it is a set of standardized activities. After that we studied what is a business process. In business process, okay, again we studied what is a process. Process is nothing but it also consists of set of activities. Okay, however, business environment it will be working. What is business environment? If you combine organizational and technical environment, it is called as a business environment. And for what purpose we require a business process? To achieve organization goal. And how many steps we have? We have three steps. First one is define. Second one, in define also we have two. We have to define certain steps and we have to map the rules. Second, performance measure. And third one, we have organization setup. So we already are done with this particular thing. So we are done with the process, business process, and third one, we have completed the differences between function-based organization versus process-based organization. Process-based organization. And fourth one, we completed business process flow. Business process flow. Okay, so these are the things which we are done with. Okay, now let us go to the next topic. Now we have a concept called as classification of business process. A very, very small topic. Classification of business process. Now in this classification, we have five stages. How many stages we have, sir? We have five stages. What is the first stage? First stage is called as a business strategy. First stage is a business strategy. So what do you mean by business strategy? Business strategy is nothing but a long-term objective. Okay. Who will set this long-term objective? By management. Okay. For what purpose? For competitive advantage. Okay. For the purpose of sustainable competitive advantage. What do you mean by sustainable? Okay. If at all you want to sustain in the market, you need to develop a competitive advantage product. Okay. So what do you mean by competitive advantage? How do you differentiate your product with others' product? Okay. So if at all you have that differentiation of your product, uniqueness of your product, then only you can sustain in the market, or else you cannot sustain in the market. So always you should have a competitive advantage. Okay. So you need to create a long-term objective in order to sustain competitive, in order to develop a sustainable competitive advantage. That is the first one. So what is the second stage? Second stage is goals. Okay. Second stage is goals. Now what do? We take the business objective or business strategy, and we divide them into certain operational goals. Okay. Goal 1, goal 2, goal 3. Okay. And these goals can be subdivided into sub goals. Okay, like 1 1, sub goal 1 2, okay, etc. Okay. For example, let us assume that my long term objective is to convert a $1 billion company to $5 billion company. This is my long term objective. Okay. So how can I achieve it? By sustainable competitive advantage only. Okay. So I have to divide this business strategy into certain goals. Okay, like 2019 I have to become a $1.5 billion company. In 2020 I want to become a $3 billion company. In 2021, okay, I want to become a $5 billion company. Okay. So this is how I divide the business strategy into certain operational goals. Okay. So this is the second stage. Third stage is, this third and fourth are important because we have a question. What is the difference between organizational business process versus operational business process? Okay. Next one is organizational business process. Organizational business process. So what do you mean by organizational business process? It is a textual form. It is a textual form textual form of representing an organization. Okay. Or I can call it as a high level processes. Okay. Or I can call it as simply departments. Okay. Textual form. What do you mean by textual form? Okay. It is not actual form. It is only a textual form. That means diagrammatical representation. Now, this textual form should give a connotation of what is the input they are taking. Okay, so what is the input and what is the output? Okay, that means desired result. it has to give a desired result. Okay, so it is nothing but a textual form. It is nothing but representing a high level processes, nothing but departments. Okay, which has to define what is the input you are giving, what is the output you are getting. Okay, and also not only that, it has to tell what is the dependency. So what is the dependency of other business process or other departments? For example, I take organization, I convert organization into certain departments, like you have accounts department, you have finance department, you have sales department, legal department, etc. Okay, so I took certain departments. So what I did, it is nothing but a textual form. Okay, so it is not an actual form, it's only a diagrammatical representation of what high level processes. Okay, like high level means accounts. Okay, in accounts you have so many other departments, but it's only a high level. Okay, so you have to define what is the input you are to give. Okay, so you give certain transactions. What is the output you get from this particular department? Like financial statements. You get the financial statement. So for every department, you have to do this particular thing. What's the input you need to give? What is the desired output you'll be getting? And what is the dependency with other departments? Okay, like okay, sales, for example, sales is dependent on accounts because whenever a sale happen, a transaction has to be recorded. Okay, so this is how we need to identify which department is dependent on which department. Okay, all these particular things is called as an organizational business process. Again, I am saying it is only a diagrammatical representation, but not the actual connotation. And fourth one is operational. Fourth one is operational. Operational business process. Okay, so what do you mean by operational business process? You take each and every department, for example, accounts. In each and every department, we have to identify what all the activities you have. Activity 1, activity 2, activity 3, all these particular activities, every activity you need to define. Okay, so activities and the relationship. Okay, so relationship also we have to define. Like let us say accounts payable. Okay, so who has to enter the details? Like let us say assistant manager has to enter the details in the ERP. Okay, so that will be okay defined in operational business process. So each department you take and what are the activities you identify and what is the relationship you identify. But again, it is not actual implementation. It is not actual implementation. That means you'll not have a software. It's only a diagrammatical representation. Okay, and finally fifth one, you implement it. Okay, so using certain softwares you implement this particular business process. So these are five stages of business process: business strategies, goals, organizational business process, operational business process, and implementation. Okay, now let us see. So how many stages we have? We have five stages, different stages of classification of business process. Okay, so what is the first stage? Business strategy. Strategy of the company is specified, which describes long-term concepts or long-term objectives. Okay, to develop a sustainable competitive advantage in the market. This is the first stage. What is the second stage? Okay, business strategy is broken down to operational goals. Okay, these goals can be divided into certain sub goals as well. Third one, organizational business process are nothing but high level processes. Okay, as I said, okay, like representation of departments. Okay, and how do you represent them? Typically specified in textual form. Okay, it's nothing but a diagrammatical representation. Okay, you have to give what is the input, what is the output, and expected result, and dependencies. Okay, so which department is dependent on which department is also very important. This is very important for your exam. Okay, next one is operational business process, okay, where we define the activities and their relationships are specified, but implementation aspects are disregarded. Okay, so implementation aspects we will not identify here. Okay, we only identify what activities and their relationships in each department. Every person, okay, what exactly that person has an activity and how is related to it. Okay, so that we define it again by way of a diagrammatical representation. And last one, implementation. Okay, contain information on execution of process activities. It's a technical means you develop a software. Okay, you develop a software and organizational environment. It is nothing but organization setup. Okay, that will be executed. So these are 5 stages which we have. Okay. The next question is about business process management. Okay. So what do you mean by business process management? It's a small definition that will complete. Okay. So what do you mean by business process management? Okay, so we completed what is a process. We completed with what's the business process. We are done with classification of not differentiation of function-based organization and process-based organization. We completed what do you mean by business process flow, and we are done with okay, what are different stages that we have in business process management. Okay, and now we'll see what is a business process management. Up to here we studied what is a business process. We already know. Okay, now management is added. Okay, so business process management is nothing but a closed loop. Okay, what it is? It's a closed loop. Okay, so what do you mean by closed loop? Okay, which we have already. I already explained this business process. Okay, so if you see this business process, it is called as a closed loop. It is called as a closed loop. Why it is called as a closed loop? Okay, because it starts with a customer and ends with a customer. Okay, that is the reason it is called as a closed loop. Okay, so every business process should be a closed loop. Or what do you mean by business process management? It is nothing but a closed loop. Okay, and we have one more word. Okay, that is called as iterative. Yeah, we have one more word, iterative management over their complete life cycle. Okay, so we understood what is a closed loop. Closed loop is nothing but it should have a definite starting and definite ending. And what do you mean by iterative management? Repetition. What do you mean by iterative management? It's nothing but repetition. Okay, so what do you mean by repetition? Okay, if you remember, I told you here iterative means repetition. So in the first quarter, okay, we achieved only 70%. Okay, in the second quarter we identified defects and we rectified defects. We okay able to perform 90%. So how we achieved it? By repeating the steps. Okay, which steps? The same steps. Okay, these steps we have repeated. In the first cycle or first quarter we achieved 70%. In the second quarter we achieved 90%. So it is nothing but an iterative process. Okay, iterative means repeat. Okay, so next July to September. Okay, we again repeat it. We increase the process to 95. Okay, so this is how we iterate means we repeat this particular process again. Okay, in order to achieve the organizational standard. Okay, so that is called as a business process management. Okay, so what do you mean by business process management? It refers to a closed loop iterative management of business processes. Okay, over their complete life cycle. Okay, it's a small definition. Again, we have a standard definition. So what is a standard definition? A business process management is nothing but achievement of organization objectives through improvement, management, control of essential business process. Okay, so every word is defined here. So it is nothing but simple, sir. Why do we require a business process? To achieve okay business objectives. Okay, we already studied why do we require a business process? To achieve a business objective. Okay, or organizational objectives. Why do you require business process management? When management comes, okay, it is required for the improvement, management and controlling. Okay, so improvement, management and controlling of essential business process. We'll not concentrate on all the business processes. We only concentrate on essential business process. For example, okay, we'll study. Okay, all these words we'll study. Okay, so achievement. What do you mean by achievement? Realizing, okay, the benefits, realizing the value or business benefits of project business case. Okay, when we can achieve, if you can realize the benefits, okay, by implementing a business process, then only it's an achievement. If at all you're not realizing benefits, if it's simple, if at all you don't have any advantages by implementing business process, why do we implement business process? Okay, so realizing is very very important. Once you realize the benefits of a business process, then only we can do the achievement. Next is organization. Okay, in process management will not have a silo approach. Okay, in process management will not have a silo approach. I told you. Okay, silo approach is nothing but, where do we have silo approach? Silo approach we have in function based organization. Silo approach is nothing but, okay, they have the knowledge about that department only. They will not have end to end approach. Okay, they will not have end to end approach like in at the time when I am explaining this function-based organization, I clearly told, okay, in function-based organization, they have a silo approach. Okay, that means if at all a person is working in accounts department, he'll have only the knowledge of accounts only. For example, if at all a CA is working in process-oriented approach, then he'll have an end-to-end knowledge. Okay, how a software is developed from one end to other end, he'll have a definite, okay, idea. That is called as organization. So in business process management, they have an end-to-end business process approach, but okay, end-to-end focus will ensure that a silo approach does not develop. Okay, so silo approach will not have. Okay, so we understood first word achievement, realizing the benefits. Second, organization will not have a silo approach, will have an end-to-end process. Third one is objective. Now, by using business process, whether we can achieve our objectives, no, it is not an achievement, it is only a means to achieve. Okay, it is only a means to achieve. BPM is not an objective in itself. Okay, it is not an objective in itself. It's not an objective in itself, but it's means of achieving objective. Simple said. Okay, so if at all you have a calculator, can you become a CA? No, okay. Calculator is just a means to calculate and to perform a particular problem or to solve a problem. If the problem is correct, then only you become a CA. Okay. So the same way here, business process is just a tool, okay, to define certain thing in order to achieve the objective, but it is not an objective. It is just a means of achieving an objective. Okay. Now, by implementing business process management, can we improve something? Yes. Okay. Business processes can be more efficient, become more efficient and effective. Okay. So I told you that example, supply chain management. In the first quarter, you achieve 70%. Second cycle, you achieve 90%. So continuously, you'll start improving. Okay. Next one is management. Management is nothing but okay, arranging the people according to their skills. Okay, so this also we have completed. Okay, like for every department will identify what is the role and what he has to do in that particular I mean department, that we define it. Okay, next is control. When we can control, if you can measure something. Okay, if you can measure something, we can control. Okay, so I told you the same example. Okay, so it's a very, very classic example. Okay, what we did here, we did a measurement. Okay, out of 10 orders, 7 orders we could deliver. Out of 100 orders, we could deliver 90. So that we can measure. When we can measure, we can control it. Okay, so if at all here we achieved 70%, okay, organization standard is 90. So we found out the reason, we rectified that reason. Next, we achieved 90%. So if you can measure it, then only you can control it. Okay, that's a very, very important aspect. Okay, now next one is essential. Okay, we will not concentrate on each and every business process, we only concentrate on essential business processes. Okay, we'll not concentrate on all the business processes, we'll only concentrate on the essential business processes, which is very, very important to understand. For example, let us say Tata Motors. Okay, Tata Motors have, let us assume, 500 business processes. Okay, out of 500 business processes, which business process is essential? Design of engine is essential. Okay, design of engine is very, very essential, because Tata Motors will manufacture cars, they have 500 business processes. Out of 500 business processes, which business process is very essential? Engine design is very, very essential. Mileage determination is very, very essential. Here we'll not concentrate on 500 business processes, we concentrate on the business process which creates a value to the customer. Okay, so those are called as essential business processes. Okay, so those are called as essential business processes. Okay, next is business. Okay, they have to only concentrate on core business processes. Okay, for example, okay, if at all you take HSBC, so if at all you take HSBC, what is the core business? Okay, they are into banking sector, portfolio management, finance management, etc. Okay, now their core business is something. Okay, if they start developing a software, okay, so what happens? They deviate. Okay, they deviate. That is the reason they should not deviate. Okay, the process management will always, business process management will always ensure that a person concentrates on its core business processes, okay, rather than additional business processes. Okay, initially HSBC started developing the softwares as well. Okay, but slowly they realized they are diverging into different sectors. They stopped this particular softwares and they are concentrating only on the okay, core business processes that happen because of the process management. Okay, and processes. Okay, so once the final test is process completeness. Okay, so whether there's a clear product or service to external or internal stakeholders that we need to define. So this is called as a business process management. It is nothing but it refers to closed loop iterative management of business process over their complete life cycle. BPM may be also defined as an achievement of an organization objectives through improvement, management, and control of essential business processes. Okay, so this is the definition of business process management. Now we have another question. What are the prime benefits of using technology in BPM? Okay, it's a very, very important question. So, what are the prime benefits of using technology in business process management? I already told you, business process management is nothing but, okay, it's a representation of a particular sequence of events by a diagrammatical way. It is not an actual implementation. Actual implementation is used by way of technology. So once you define, you adopt a technology in order to automate that business process. Okay, that is called as BPA, business process automation. Okay, so what are the primary benefits of using technology? Effectiveness can be gained through automated coordination of activities. Okay, so we can able to achieve effectiveness by automatically coordinating activities. I told you this particular example, like leave management system. Not only leave management system, you can take anything like okay. So what is the first thing, sir? What is the advantage? Okay, automated coordination of activities. Effectiveness can be achieved. Effectiveness can be achieved by automated activities. Automated activities. I told you this leave management system, like an employee will give the details in leave management system and a reporting manager will approve it. Okay, so once you define this particular thing, what will happen? Okay, we can automate. Once you automate, we can achieve the effectiveness. Okay, so instead of waiting for the reporting manager, I told you, okay, like on a piece of paper, if you write a leave letter and give it to the leave management, if you give that particular leave letter to the reporting manager, he has to sign it. Again, you need to go to HR, you have to give that letter to HR department. All these particular things can be eliminated. That is called as effectiveness. Okay, how you have achieved effectiveness? Because you automated certain activities. Okay, that is the first reason. And next one, distribution of task to process participants. It's a very important distribution of tasks to process participants and amalgamation of applications. Okay, so distribution based on role. Okay, this also I told you. Okay, like let us say sales. In sales department, assistant manager receives order. Okay, and what he will do, he will enter that order in ERP. Okay, once he enter the order in the ERP, manager will approve it. Okay, manager will approve it. Okay, so this is called as distribution of task and process participant. Okay, so there's an approval process. Okay, and also it is required for the purpose of amalgamation of applications. A very, very important thing, sir. Why generally ERPs are used? Okay, ERPs are generally used as an integration softwares. It is called as an integration softwares. Okay, so every department will be using a different information system. For example, accounts will use accounting information system. Sales will use like CRM, customer relationship management. Okay, through ERP, what we can do, one information system can be amalgamated, means integrated with another information system, so that the data from sales department will reach to accounts department automatically. Okay, etc. So there's an always a cross, what do you call, cross transfer of data between one department to another department. Okay, so that is called as amalgamation. Okay, so what's the first benefit? Effective gains. How we can achieve effective gains? By automated coordination of activities. Second, distribution of tasks to process applicants and amalgamation of applications. And lastly, okay, creation of basic operational proposition. It's nothing but with less effort higher quality. Okay, with less effort and higher quality. Okay, so effort will be reduced. What will happen if at all I automate a particular thing? Okay, effort will be reduced and quality will be increased. Okay, so these are three benefits of using technology for business process management. Okay,